So I tried the 1906R and the 860 V2. Those are two retro runners from New Balance. And so I wanted to dive in a little bit more. And this is like $100 pair from New Balance. And this is the 530, but I wanted to see how these were because, you know, it's kind of like a budget entry-level pair of sneakers. $100 retail. You can get them on sale for as low as $70 in some colorways, and I will link them in the description for those interested. But here's a look at the 530s, and I gotta tell you guys, I'm actually pretty impressed with what New Balance has delivered with this product. Something that I didn't really realize until I'm actually shooting this video is I looked these up, and this is actually a retro from like 1992. So this was a performance running sneaker back in the day, which is why it has that kind of retro vibes of like an early 90s runners, because it actually was. The price point is only $100 though, and so I wanted to see how they were on feet, if they were comfortable, like kind of where they place in line with a lot of the different New Balance models. Because in my experience, New Balance is kind of on two different sides of the fence. They have the lifestyle stuff, which is really good, cut and sew leather, suedes, very nice quality, craftsmanship, and everything else in between. High price points in around the $200 price range though for those. And then you have the tech end that has fuel cell and Fresh Foam X and really nice cushioning systems in really elite running sneakers as well that can get up to $250 on that side of the fence as well. So really they have both sides of the fence, that modern and that retro vibe. And so these kind of land in the space in between. They're not chunky like dad-like sneakers. There's not a lot of leather and suedes on these things. It's not loaded in technology, but it's actually still a really comfortable pair of sneakers, and actually the build quality on these are pretty impressive for a $100 pair of shoes. So let's go ahead and get into the video on the 530s, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So New Balance says the 530 sneaker is a throwback to our classic running look. This casual shoe combines everyday style with a modern technology of ABZORB cushioning for superior comfort underfoot, putting a 2000s tech spin on your running style with a 530 sneaker. ABZORB midsole absorbs impact through a combination of cushioning and compression resistance, synthetic and mesh upper, and heritage model throwback to the classic 2000s running shoe style. So you can see my confusion a little bit. The product definition from New Balance says this is inspired by like a 2000s style, but the original release actually came out in 1992. It looks like the original models had end cap and ABZORB as well, so leave a comment in the comment section if you guys know if this is different than the original ones from the 1992 era or not, because I honestly don't know. What I can tell you guys is this really reminds me, if you are a fan of like the Nike Vomero 5s, which has had like a big wave from the Nike front, it's kind of that retro runner vibe that these give you as well. Similar to that 860 V2s, however, these are a little bit cheaper than that. The 860 V2s are like that $150 price point. These ones are starting at $100. And I'll link the 860s in the description as well if you guys are interested in buying those or these. Personally, I think the 860 is a better model, looks-wise as well as comfort-wise, but comparatively, these are actually really good as well for only $100. So how do these stack up against the Vomeros? Well, it is a lower tiered model, the $60 difference in retail price. But I'll tell you guys, the overall upper construction feels fairly similar to the Vomeros. You have mesh and panels on the upper that kind of ties the shoe together. The midsole comfort is quite different though. The Vomero 5s are super comfortable in comparison to these, as well as even the 860 V2s. I would say the Vomeros are softer on feet. Now, if you're throwing in the mix of softness, like the New Balance Fuel Cells are crazy, crazy soft comparison to the Vomeros. So it's not like the Vomero 5s are the most comfortable, most softest things out there. New Balance has a ton of other ones that are a lot softer, but comparatively to these and the 860s, I would say the Vomeros definitely take the cake. The overall build quality in general on this shoe, I would say is average though. I mean, the mesh is nice, the panels are nice, the liner's nice. It's not anything extra or like a lot of bells and whistles, but I actually really like the overall style and the look of the shoe as well. And on feet, I was like, dude, these actually look really nice on feet. In fact, I find myself just wearing them casually just because it's kind of a fun shoe to wear. And I like this colorway specifically, but they do have other ones that are on sale for a lot cheaper at $70 instead of $100. So just throwing that out there. Also, the traction on the bottom of the shoe is actually really good as well. You can see there's lots of rubber tread on the bottom of the shoe. And then you do get this little window back here, which is kind of interesting. I think it's supposed to absorb a little bit. I don't really know, but it looks cool. And I apologize, I don't have a lot of the tech knowledge here on these sneakers, but you do see there is a little bit of a window here, and they do feel pretty good on feet. Again, not super soft and squishy on feet, but overall very comfortable, very well supported, and just an all-around pretty impressive pair of sneakers for that price point. To be honest, it's kind of like one of those shoes that I feel like if they added a little bit more on the original price of them, like the 130 price point, maybe people would have been more interested in them, because even when I looked at these on the website, I was like, those are only $100. I'm like, oh, they must not be very good. That was my initial impression, because I know New Balance, I know quality, and I know the price points are upwards of the $250 range for some of the cut and sew leather stuff and the suedes. This being a retro runner, I was expecting it to be just a little bit more, but the price point is nice. Again, I'm not complaining at a $100 price point. In fact, it just made me feel like this is really a value option for people that are looking for something that's pretty stylish and overall a really nice looking retro runner. for the 2023 era. Now, one other thing I did want to mention is it looks like they did have another 530 that Ronnie Fieg actually collaborated on, and I'm not sure if you look at the shoes side by side, they look completely different. Like the midsole looks different, the upper is cut and sew, it's totally different. There's not a lot of mesh on it. So sometimes when I think of a collaboration, so Ronnie Fieg owns Kith, for those that don't know, and he did a collaboration with the 530, and I think it was like a Central Park inspired upper or something like that on the shoe. Really nice looking model. In fact, I swear I had that one back in 2014 when it came out. But looking at this and then looking at that, I mean, they're totally different pairs of sneakers. The upper is completely different and the midsole looks completely different from the pictures. I wish I still had those in hand. Anyways, I just wanted to point it out that there is another 530 out there, but if you know the difference, leave a comment in the comment section, because I honestly don't. I'm just like confused as why there's the same name of the model and two completely different looking models. It's one thing if they take the mesh panels and then put leather over top of them, and then it's kind of like a hybrid sort of thing, but not, because it would be using the same outsole midsole, but the outsole midsole looks completely different too. So I don't really get it. That's the one thing with New Balance that I'm always confused by, is their naming conventions of like, well, why is this a 530? I know that there's reasons why they call things 5, 7, 9s and stuff, stabilities and everything else in between, but yeah, the 530, I'm not really sure why they had this one and then the other one that looks completely different. But again, if you guys know, leave a comment in the comment section. Fit for these things, I would say true to size. I did get a 9.5, and these do fit me perfectly fine. I really like the way that these ones fit, actually. And I have a little bit of a wider foot, and just the regular standard ones work for me just fine. But if you guys are interested in checking these out, check the link in the description. Takes you over to New Balance's site. If you guys use my link, it does give me a little bit of a kickback. Lets New Balance know that you guys saw the video and rock with the channel. Greatly appreciate it if you guys do that. But honestly, leave a comment in the comment section, your guys' thoughts on the 530. Is this a shoe that originally you're just like, nah, I'm not even interested in that? And then now the rise of the Vomeros, now you have these retro runners that are kind of making their way back. Again, this is a different mold than the extreme racing stuff and then the lifestyle stuff that you usually see from New Balance. And I like this lane that they're in. It kind of is in that ASICS sort of vibe where it's like the retro runner stuff. And New Balance is deep, man. They've had a lot of runners from back in the day that they could bring back. So I'm not sure why they brought this one back, but this could be the beginning of a lot of other things. A lot more deep cuts from New Balance that we may have had releases from in the past that maybe they're going to start bringing back out. And I wouldn't be mad if they did, because honestly, these things are great. And it's great that they're getting some usage out of something just kind of maybe forgotten in the past. And I got to tell you guys, I'm impressed. But anyway, thank you guys for stopping by to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed. And hopefully we'll see you guys back on the channel for some more content very soon. All right, peace, guys.